And here's what we usually do when installing games through DBI. Just drag the files over and let DBI do its thing. Wait. What's that? Oh no. So, let's rewind for a second. What exactly did I see? Why did I suddenly stop the installation? And why did I react like that? At first glance, everything looks perfectly normal. The installation is progressing. DBI isn't showing any errors. Nothing appears to be wrong. But then, I noticed something in the top corner of the screen. A tiny detail that most people would completely miss. And honestly, I almost missed it too. Now, if you've been around the Switch modding scene for a while, you might already know exactly what I'm talking about. But for everyone else, let's take a closer look. Right here. That single letter. That one tiny character completely changes the situation. Because that letter tells us where we're currently running and where we're currently installing. And that's where the problem begins. That letter is S. S stands for SysMMC. And SysMMC is generally not where pirated content is supposed to live. Now, there are exceptions. Maybe your console is already banned. Maybe you don't care about going online ever again. Maybe you intentionally keep everything on SysMMC and have no interest in using Nintendo's online services. If that's your situation, that's a completely different conversation. But for most people in this community, accidentally installing pirated content on SysMMC is considered a major mistake. Not because you're a bad person, not because you're inexperienced, but because it's one of those things that's completely avoidable. It's the kind of mistake that makes you sit back and say, "Yep, that was careless." And the worst part? Sometimes it doesn't happen because you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes it happens because you're moving too fast. You get comfortable. You stop double checking. And then one tiny click turns into a potentially very expensive lesson. Now, thankfully, this is not the end of the world. If you're using my HATS pack, we can still recover from this situation properly because HATS was designed with one thing in mind: mistakes happen. That's why HATS Tools includes a dedicated SysMMC wipe function that uses Nintendo's own factory reset service rather than risky manual cleanup methods. We're not deleting random files, we're not rebuilding system saves, and we're not relying on undocumented tricks. We're letting the operating system perform the cleanup exactly the way it was designed to. The result is a clean factory state SysMMC using Nintendo's own reset mechanism. So let me show you exactly how this works and why it has become one of the most important recovery tools included in the HATS pack. Before we begin the recovery process, there are a few things you should know. First of all, HATS Tools is already included as part of the latest HATS pack. So if you're already using the HATS pack, there's nothing extra you need to download. However, if you're running a different custom firmware setup and only want HATS Tools itself, you can download it separately from the GitHub page linked in the description below. I highly recommend using the latest version available, as HATS Tools is continuously maintained, improved, and enhanced over time. Also, before proceeding any further, make sure your console has sufficient battery power and understand that this process is intended for SysMMC recovery scenarios like the one demonstrated in this video. With that out of the way, let's move on to the preparation steps before performing the actual cleanup. Before we continue, let me quickly show you something. If you're looking for professionally customized gaming consoles and gaming hardware, feel free to visit my store at www.sthetix.info. Every product is carefully prepared, thoroughly tested, and personally inspected by me before it leaves the workshop. My goal has always been simple: provide outstanding service, high-quality products, and competitive pricing without compromising quality. We ship worldwide and have already completed thousands of successful shipments across the globe. The reviews you see on the website are genuine reviews from real customers. I didn't write them, I didn't pay for them, and they represent actual buyer experiences. We also support multiple payment methods, making the entire process flexible and convenient, no matter where you're located. So go ahead, visit www.sthetix.info, browse the catalog, and if you see something you like, don't forget to ask for a discount coupon by sending me a message or email. There's a good chance I'll have one available for you. Alright, enough of that. Let's get back to the recovery process. Now that the installation has finished, let's head back to the home menu and see what actually happened. At this point, some of you are probably expecting the worst. Maybe Nintendo has already seen it. Maybe the damage has already been done. Maybe it's already too late. Well, this is exactly where one of the built-in protections included in the HATS pack comes into play. Let's try opening the Nintendo eShop. Go ahead, launch it. And as you can see, nothing. The console is unable to communicate with Nintendo's servers. This isn't a bug. This isn't an accident. This is intentional. One of the goals of the HATS pack is to provide multiple layers of protection against common mistakes, including situations exactly like this one. So even though a game was accidentally installed where it shouldn't have been, the console has already been isolated from Nintendo's online services. And that's a very good thing. However, that doesn't mean we're done. The unauthorized content is still present on SysMMC, and that's exactly what we're going to clean up next. So let's begin the recovery process. Open Album. Launch HATS Tools. And from the main menu, select Wipe SysMMC. Before you press that button, I need to give you a very important warning. This process cannot be reversed. If there's anything on your SysMMC that you want to keep, stop now. Seriously, stop now and make a backup first. If you need to preserve your game saves, launch JKSV and back them up before continuing. If you want maximum protection, you can also create a full NAND backup. I'm not going to cover those procedures in this video, so please refer to other guides if needed. The important thing is this. Once you start the SysMMC wipe process, everything stored on SysMMC will be erased. Installed games, game updates, DLC, user profiles, screenshots, save data, everything. And I do mean everything. After the wipe completes, those files will not be recoverable through normal means. So don't treat this warning lightly. Take a moment, think about it. Make sure you've backed up anything important, and only continue when you're absolutely certain you're ready to proceed. Because once the countdown reaches 0 and the wipe begins, there's no undo button. Alright, the wipe process has completed successfully, and as you've just seen, HATS Tools automatically forces the console to reboot. Now let's wait until we're back in Hecate. Once you're here, go ahead and launch either OFW or semi-stock. For this demonstration, I'll be using one of those environments because I want to verify that the console can communicate with Nintendo's servers again and regain access to the eShop. Now, if your OFW refuses to boot, but semi-stock works perfectly fine, don't panic. In most cases, that simply means you're dealing with a fuse count mismatch rather than a problem caused by the wipe itself. I've already covered that topic in a separate video, so if that's your situation, take a look at the video shown on the screen right now, and you'll also find the link in the description below. For everyone else, let's continue and see whether our freshly wiped SysMMC can successfully reconnect to Nintendo's services. And as soon as you successfully boot into either OFW or semi-stock, you should be greeted by Nintendo's initial setup screen, the familiar red welcome screen. And when you see that screen, it's actually a very good sign, because it means the wipe has been successfully applied and the console is now behaving exactly like a freshly factory reset system. At this point, go ahead and complete the initial setup process. Select your language, choose your region, configure your basic settings, and proceed, just as if you were setting up a brand new console for the very first time. Once that's done, we'll move on to the final test, the one that really matters. Can this console reconnect to Nintendo's servers and access the eShop again? Let's find out. Oh, and before we continue, a quick disclaimer. This is not an unban tool. If your console is already banned, it will remain banned. This feature is designed to help recover from accidental SysMMC contamination before a ban occurs. And once you reach the You Can Now Link a Nintendo Account screen, go ahead and select Link a Nintendo Account. The reason we're doing this is simple. We want to verify that the wipe was successful and that the console can once again communicate properly with Nintendo's servers. This is effectively our first real connectivity test after the cleanup process. And when you reach the Nintendo account linking screen displaying the QR code, that's an excellent sign because it means the console has successfully re-established communication with Nintendo's servers and is able to access their services again. In other words, the system is behaving exactly as a normal factory reset console should. So go ahead and proceed with the connection process because this is the moment we've been waiting for. Alright, the Nintendo account has now been linked successfully, which means the console is once again communicating properly with Nintendo's services. At this point, go ahead and complete the remaining Nintendo Switch initial setup process by following the on-screen instructions. Since we have wiped the system, then the console pops and forces you to delete the remaining debris inside the SD card that were used in the previous setup. Do not worry. Usually, it will only delete the Nintendo folder at the root of the SD card only and nothing else. go ahead and click it. And now we're back in Hecate. Let's go ahead and relaunch either OFW or semi-stock one more time and perform the final verification by accessing the Nintendo eShop. At this point, we really shouldn't be worried anymore because our previous connectivity test has already succeeded and the Nintendo account was linked without any issues. In other words, we've already proven that the console can communicate properly with Nintendo's servers. What I want to show you now is simply the final confirmation that accessing the eShop works exactly as expected. So let's launch the eShop and verify that everything is functioning normally. Well, there you have it. If you've successfully reached this Nintendo eShop login screen and you're being asked to sign in again, then the Wipe SysMMC function inside HAT's tools has done exactly what it was designed to do. The console has been reset, the previous unauthorized content has been removed, connectivity to Nintendo services has been restored, and the system is behaving exactly like a freshly initialized console. At this point, you can simply sign back into your Nintendo account and continue using the console normally. So yes, I'd call this a successful recovery and a good example of why having a proper safety net in place can make all the difference when mistakes happen. And as a bonus demonstration, I'm going to insert a physical game cartridge and let the console download the latest game update directly from Nintendo's servers. This isn't really necessary at this point because we've already verified Nintendo account linking and eShop access, but I think it's a nice extra confirmation that everything is functioning normally. And for those of you who are curious about what's actually happening behind the scenes and what method HAT's tools uses to perform the SysMMC wipe, stick around for the next chapter because I'm going to explain the process in a little more detail and show why this approach is very different from some of the older methods that were commonly used in the past. Now that we've confirmed the console can access Nintendo services again, let's talk about what's actually happening behind the scenes. Contrary to what some people may think, HAT's tools isn't using some undocumented trick, randomly deleting files or blindly rebuilding system saves. In the past, many of us relied on Tegra Explorer's system wipe, and to be fair, it worked very well for a long time. I've personally used it many times myself. However, system wipe fundamentally relies on manually deleting system data and system saves. As the Nintendo Switch operating system evolved, especially after the save management changes introduced in firmware 17.0.0, I became less comfortable relying on manual cleanup methods. Around that time, HunterMario published Factory-Refurbishment-NX and referenced information from SciresM regarding Nintendo's newer save management behavior. The more I looked into that research, the more I preferred Nintendo's own refurbishment approach instead of manually deciding what should be deleted and what should be preserved. That's where Nintendo's official factory refurbishment service comes in. This is an actual Nintendo operating system function used for the refurbishment process. In other words, HAT's tools isn't trying to imitate a factory reset. It's asking the operating system itself to perform the cleanup using Nintendo's own implementation and internal logic. My contribution was taking HunterMario's research and turning it into something practical and easy to use inside HAT's tools, allowing users to perform the process with just a few button presses. Because of that, there's a good chance I will eventually retire System Wipe from the HAT's ecosystem altogether, or perhaps limit its usage to EmuMMC only scenarios where Nintendo's refurbishment service is simply not available. Unfortunately, Nintendo's official refurbishment service only works on SysMMC, and that's not something we can change. So for SysMMC cleanup and recovery, I personally consider the refurbishment approach to be the cleaner and safer long-term solution. And that's ultimately why the Wipe SysMMC feature exists in the HAT's pack today. So I think that concludes our video for today. Hopefully you've learned something new, gained a better understanding of how SysMMC recovery works, and maybe even discovered that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than most people realize. If this video helped you in any way, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. It really helps support the work I do and allows me to continue creating guides, tools, and content for the community. Thank you very much for watching, thank you for your support, and as always, choose wisely. I'll see you again in another interesting video.